Alrighty, hey everyone, welcome back. Happy Friday to everyone. We finally made it to the end of the week. It was an interesting week nonetheless. We had, well, core pumping like crazy. We also had IREN surprisingly pumping like crazy as well. Those two are like neck and neck as far as gains this past week. We'll take a look at obviously what happened with the miners today, Bitcoin as well. We'll take a look at also on the miners as far as how have they performed over the last several periods. We'll look all the way back to when they bottomed out in December of 2022 and January 2023 and go forward from there to the latest that we had, which was obviously the Trump tariffs back in April. We'll go back to that. We'll see how they have done. Things have definitely changed from when we looked at it last, which was probably about 2 weeks ago to 3 weeks ago. And then we'll also discuss obviously why is potentially IREN pumping right now. I put a poll up for you guys, right, asking a couple questions there. Why is IREN rocketing right now, going up in value? There's a couple options for it. It looks like 67% of you guys right now are saying because of incoming HPCI. We'll see how this poll progresses as we go forward. But that is it. Let's get into it all. But always we have to go through this. Not financial advice, for only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously here. So let's get into what's going on here. All right, let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin was not that what I wanted. I wanted to go here. Bitcoin was going sideways today again, a little bit. Right, it was down the day prior. It was down on Thursday a little bit. It was down 0.35%. We were up just a little bit today, 0.08% on Bitcoin. So we closed at approximately 107,113. Miners were mixed on the day. Markets were actually up today. We had Trump come out and say that Canada is coming out with a tax on technology, basically. So he's pausing or ending all the negotiations there between the United States and Canada. Market took a dip at that point and it kind of bounced back up. It was like, all right, Trump and family there are seeing the markets going up faster than they probably thought they're going to go back up. So we need to put a little pause on that. So there came out that tweet. Things paused for a little bit, but then they bounced back nonetheless. I think the S&P 500 was the NASDAQ here recently reached a new all-time high. It might have been both of them actually. Let's see here. This is S&P 500. Yeah, I mean, that's reached a new all-time high here. We also have, let's see here, this is the NASDAQ. NASDAQ also reached a new all-time high, right? And the Dow Jones is still quite a ways behind that, but it's getting up there as well. So we had that happen today also, which freaked people out for a little bit, and then things kind of cooled off and went back up, which is nice. The miners, on the other hand, were mixed, way mixed today. So Bitfarms was down another 6.24%. I think this is just a continuation of Riot selling there, unfortunately, right? They can't, I mean, they're in a tough spot right now as it is. They're trying to build out their HPCI potential, but having the stock being where it's at right now, that's definitely troublesome for them. And it's still going to be a while before Riot is done selling. I'm guessing probably another couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months before they're done completely selling out of the Bitfarms shares that they do own. In the meantime, it's going to put definitely that pressure on the stock to keep it low, unfortunately. Now, I've said in the comments here, and I'll say it here as well, if Bitfarms does go down to like 50 cents or below, I will start buying it at that point. I think at that point it is just way too undervalued. Eventually they will have Riot off their backs and stop selling, and the stock should do much better going forward. The other fear that we have here right now is the possibility of the reverse split with them. So that's possibly causing some contention in traders as well to get out, possibly. So we're seeing that as well. I think we need some clarity around that, right? When do they plan on doing a reverse split? If they're planning on doing a reverse split, would they just hold it in case the stock cannot get above the dollar on the NASDAQ over a certain period of time? Would they then use it only if that's the case, right? So we need some clarity on that. Next here was Bitdeer. Bitdeer was down just a little bit here, 1.07%. Still kind of flat, more or less. Range bound here the last couple of days, probably this past week, more or less. Cypher was up a little bit here, 1.67%. Was up much higher, then it came back down. That was the result of the tariff fears being announced by Trump there on Canada. So that pulled back down and didn't quite recover after that. But it got up much higher. It went up to 454, settled at 426. Cleanspark was up and down a day. It actually ended up being down 1.3% on the day, which wasn't too bad. It's battling with that kind of possible resistance here, right around $11 or so. It seems like we've gotten to there once, and we're getting to there again, and we're getting shunned from it. It looks like, at least right now. We'll see if we can break above that one. CORZ was up again today, a little bit, 1.77% on the day, closed at $16.65. The high was $17.13. There's obviously the stock has done pretty well yesterday because of the news potential of CoreWeave buying Core Scientific out. We don't know what that price is at. We have analysts saying anywhere between $18 and like 40 some dollars, right? Somewhere in the middle, somewhere is where we might end up at. It'll have to, well, hopefully we'll get some more answers on this next week. We only have, what is it, Mondays, I think is the last trading day for the month of June here. So we have that going for us. Hive was up just a little bit as well, 0.56%. Hut 8 was actually down today, 5.46, almost wiping out all the gains it had yesterday. IREN continues to go up here, 6.79% so far today, which was up higher. Actually, it was up $14.29, closed at $14 here. This thing has been doing absolutely fabulous the last, I would say, probably a month or so. And why is that? We'll get into that here in a second when we go back into IREN, and I'll give you guys my thoughts on it. Mara was down a little bit here today, 1.57%. Riot was up just a little bit here, 0.38. It was higher, it was at 1090, closed at 1055. Wolf was down 3.87%. And then we have the other Bitcoin holders here. MicroStrategy was down just a little bit, 0.66. Galaxy was up, down 2%. What else do we have here? The blockchain group was down another 10.7% there. This thing definitely needed a pullback, and it's getting it right now. I'm expecting this thing to probably come back down to maybe around the 50 SMA here and bounce off of that before everything is said and done, but we'll see. What else do we have here? The small miners were down for the most part. Argo was up just a little bit. BitDigital was up just 1%. I did see news that Sam Tabar bought 750,000 shares, around $2, so that's like 1.5 million in the company. That's a good thing. That kind of maybe put a stopgap there on the shares going down any further, so that was good. Obviously, they're going through a huge transition here right now. We talked about it yesterday. On that one, what else do we have here? The ETFs were down from the miners, except for WGMI was up just a little bit here, 0.98%. I think that was mostly attributable to probably IREN and Core Scientific going up a little bit as well on the day. And what else do we have here? CoreWeave was up just a little bit here, 1.21%. It was down the last 4 days, it looks like, and it's come back up here. Okay, so let's take a look at Bitcoin here really quick as well. Bitcoin for the month of June here, let me refresh this. Make sure we're getting the latest. It's up 2.35%. We have the weekend to go through, and then Monday we'll see where we end up at. Bitcoin ETF inflows here continue to be positive across the board here. So, I mean, $226 million were bought yesterday. $344 million was bought so far today. We don't have BlackRock reporting just yet. Once we do have, I'm guessing we're probably going to be over $500 million there. And yet Bitcoin price continues to struggle. Or I wouldn't say struggle, it's just flat more or less. Eventually, I think the thing is going to start popping here. It's got to start popping here a little bit. With all the buying that these guys are doing and everybody else is buying, I'm guessing the stuff's coming off the exchanges and off the OTC desks. And eventually those things are going to start getting low. I mean, they're pretty low already. I mean, there's like $2 million or 2 million coins on exchanges. I'm not sure on the OTC desks, but it should start going up. Maybe we'll get a nice July like we have historically in bull runs. But we'll see. We'll find that out in July. All right, let's go back to IREN here really quick. So IREN, as you guys know, has done really, really well here. We'll take a look at how well it's done here in comparison to some of the other miners here really quick. There it is, IREN right there. On the weekly, it is up right now 33.72%. Not too far behind from CORZ. CORZ was up right now on the week 40.39, right? CORZ obviously pumped on the news of a buyout potential, but IREN, there's no such news here, and that thing has been going bonkers here recently. From the bottom here recently, which we reached on April 7th here, to the top here where we are right now, we are up approximately 175% to the top of it at least. Where we closed at was 170%. This thing has done fantastically well here. Is it just because it bottomed out pretty hard? Maybe. I think it's also them getting to 40 exahash here in the last month. They're targeting 50 exahash as well this month. So it's going to be another roughly 9 exahash increase. I think they're at 41 right now as it is. So that's part of it, I think. And the other part of it is the potential that they have with their sites at Clearwater. Those two sites that they have are 1.4 gigawatts and 600 megawatts. Combined is 2 gigawatts there. I think something is happening with that. There might be at least behind the scenes, we don't know it, but we might be seeing something happening there, and we might be seeing something coming to fruition here in the next couple of weeks, possibly. Because typically you don't get this type of price action unless something is being, whispered through the tea leaves, I guess. Somebody's gotten wind of something, and it's being definitely bought up here, especially this past week. Has been really, really good. So I think it's mainly because of that, their HPCI potential, a little bit of a repricing also on that infrastructure that they have potential there. So that's my analysis on it as far as what I could see is happening with it. I mean, we don't have anything concrete from them, but it's just a lot of what ifs and could they get deals, which I think are kind of getting up there to the possibility of them possibly getting a deal here. I think the chances have improved tremendously from what we're seeing with CoreWeave and CORZ Scientific, and them getting into bed with also with Galaxy along with Applied Digital. Right, the demand is definitely there. They have the site for it. It's huge. Can one or two or a couple hyperscalers partake in that? I think there is a possibility in that, but I just don't see maybe they could. I have a harder time believing that it's going to be one entity that's going to take up the whole 2 gigawatts. I think it's going to be split up for a couple of entities possibly. We'll see. But that's the reason why I think this thing is going up right now. It's also really run well, really greatly run company when it comes to Bitcoin mining. And I think that's going to also transition over to their HPCI business as well. They also have Horizon 1 being built out right now. I saw pictures of them pouring concrete in the middle of the night in Texas, which kind of makes sense because it's hot as heck out there. You might want to do that. So there's just a lot of potential there. As you guys know, I've been in IREN for a long time. I've been covering them pretty much since they went on the NASDAQ. Going back probably, what now is that, 3 years back. I wanted to invest in them back in, what was it, 2022, I think it was? Yeah, 2022. But along with other companies, they also went into some trouble with covering the financing or covering the payments on the loans that they had on the miners that they purchased at that point. Luckily, those were special purpose vehicles. They did not affect the company. They just gave them back, and that was it. But at that point, I wanted to see how they do going forward here. And once I saw a reversal and them starting to grow again really, really well, that was the time when I got into them. And I got into them back in, oh gosh, I'm trying to think here. Possibly, I got into them last year again, right around $6, $8 a share at that point. And I dollar cost averaged into them quite a bit here. And I bought some more this week as well. So I'm a big fan of them. I love what I'm seeing here, and I think there's definitely a lot of potential here with them. But we'll see. You guys can give me your thoughts on it as well. On that one. All right, let's take a look at the miners here really quick as far as their stock performance over the last several periods here on this one. And I like to just keep an eye on this to see how they're doing overall, right? Which ones are starting to pop here a little bit more, which ones are falling behind a little bit as well. So we are going all the way back to the bottom of the cycle, which was back in January of 2023. And December of 2022 roughly, but I'm going back to January here. You can see that here IREN, or it used to be called Iris, I still have it here as Iris Energy. IREN is up 1,076%. It is the best performing if you got in at that point. If anybody did get in at that point, congratulations, you're up really, really nice. And if you held on through all the turmoil, all the up and down that we've had in not only IREN and all the other stocks as well. Next is Cypher. Cypher's up 565% here. That one has done really well also. That one has also had some FUD around it, right? Their biggest shareholder was Bitfury. Bitfury did eventually give out the shares to their own shareholders. So there was a less chance of a lot of shares being sold at a certain period of time. And they owned like 75% of the shares there in Cypher. So I think this was a good thing. Bitcoin's up 527%, so those two have outperformed Bitcoin since the bottom here. Cleanspark is not too far behind here at 430%. Then you got CORZ Scientific at 384% up. Marathon's up 342, Hive is up 331, Riot 213%, Bitfarms is up 75%, and Hive is only up 17% from there. So if you got into a lot of these guys here, you'd still do pretty well. Maybe have not done as well as Bitcoin, but you probably did really well if you got in at that time as well. Okay. Next here, if we look at from the beginning of last year, if we look at that, CORZ Scientific is now the best performer here. At that point, it went into bankruptcy, right around there. Came out of bankruptcy, actually, I should say, and that's why the stock has done really well here. Bitcoin's up 132%, IREN's up 105%, HUD 40%, BitDeer 24%, Cypher up 3%, Cleanspark's down about 2%, Riot's down 31%, Marathon down 34%, Hive down 59%, and Bitfarms down 73% since then. Looking at it from the beginning of the second half of 2024, we got CORZ Scientific being up 69%, Bitcoin up 66%, HUD up 15%, IREN up 10%, almost 11%, Riot up 6%, BitDeer up 4%, Cypher down 9.75%, Marathon down 33%, Cleanspark down 40%, Hive being down 44%, and Bitfarms down 72%. So as we've talked about this past year, it has not been a fun year for the Bitcoin miners, except with the exception of a couple there, actually except for one, CORZ Scientific. So it has been a painful year. If you got into them towards the peaks, which a lot of those guys have peaked in, I think it was January, February, March of last year, when they peaked, and then we had the halving event, and then they went down quite tremendously. Then when we look at the beginning of the fourth quarter of 2024, we can see that IREN is now up 81% since then. Bitcoin's up 72%, BitDeer up 50, almost 60% there. HUD 8, 52%, Riot 49%, CORZ Scientific 41%, Cleanspark 24% roughly, Cypher up 19%, Marathon's basically flat, down 0.27%, Hive down 39%, Bitfarms down 62%. And then price difference from the beginning of this year, IREN is the only one that has done really, really well here. It is up 33.84% since the beginning of this year, followed by CORZ Scientific being up 15%, Cleanspark up 13%, Bitcoin up 8% here, and Riot's up 0.86%. Then we got Cypher down almost 12%, Marathon down 12.6%, HUD down 19.3%, Hive down 41%, BitDeer down 51%, Bitfarms down 53%. So we're definitely getting a different picture here starting this year out. And then price from the difference from Trump's tariffs here, IREN's up 107%, CORZ up 97%, Cypher's up 60%, Cleanspark up 33%, HUD 8 up 31%, Riot up 31% as well, almost 32% there. Bitcoin's up 26%, almost 27%, Marathon's up 21%, BitDeer up 19%, Hive up 11%, and Bitfarms is down 12.5% roughly. And that's a result of possibly a lot of selling from Riot happening here. So they're going to be under the boot there for a while until those shares are all sold out that Riot owns, unfortunately for them. So you can see here, IREN has been doing the best here since, since the beginning of this year and after Trump's tariffs announcement that came out for 2025. Right, so what's going on with IREN, like I talked about, I think it's just getting repriced. They're an excellent miner. They're also going to be an excellent HPCI host there, or whatever they're going to be doing with it. They have a lot of potential, and I think that is getting repriced here on that one. So IREN is kind of like the darling right now. I did some questions on X as well, right? Which one could get to possibly $20, IREN or Cleanspark? And it was definitely more weighted towards IREN to get to $20 before Cleanspark could get there. And I can understand why, because of the HPCI potential. That's one of the reasons that I've gotten into IREN was, one, was they're great at Bitcoin mining, right? They're fantastic at it. But the other optionality was the HPCI, right? If it works out for them and they get something, that could be a huge bonus for the price of the stock there. It could definitely catapult it up much higher. And that's why I also got into Cleanspark. Great operator, great growth, just like IREN as well. And they're more of a pure play Bitcoin miner. But they have a HODL position here, so the HODL position could get eventually valued as well. Right now, it doesn't seem like they're getting valued on that as well as other companies that have a HODL position right now. But in time, maybe as Bitcoin goes up to 150,000, 200,000, maybe that will drive the valuation on what they actually own there, because their balance sheet is definitely going to get much higher because of it. So we'll see, right? But this is the way things have shaped up here so far. I think the next 6 months are going to be great for us as well, as long as Bitcoin doesn't fall for 30%. As long as we continue to go up in Bitcoin price, whether it's going to be 150, 200,000 by the end of the year, wherever it might be, miners and the ones that have HPCI potential could do very, very well here going forward. So pick your horses wisely and do your due diligence, obviously, right? Keep an eye on them, see what they're doing, see everything else. But I think there's going to be a lot of money possibly going to be made here in the next 6 months, given that Bitcoin goes up. If Bitcoin doesn't go up, well, that's all for naught, right? Some of the miners that are doing HPCI might still do really well if they get some great deals or great contracts with somebody there. All right, so keep that in mind as well. That could also play out that way. And then we'll see how the rest of the cycle plays out. Like I said before, I don't think we're going to have another huge bear market where we go down 70, 80% in Bitcoin. I think we're going to have these kind of corrections, 20%, 30% drawdowns, excuse me, in Bitcoin price, and then going back up. But we'll see. All right, that is it. I did promise you guys yesterday that I would send the spreadsheet out today in the morning to the Patreon members there. I forgot to do it. I got busy at work. I had to do a report for the government, which is always fun. So I got busy, had to do that, couldn't get this stuff done for you guys, or at least upload it. So I will upload this either later on tonight or tomorrow, which will include everything that we talked about yesterday's video, as well as what we talked about in today's video. So link for that is down in the description if you want to become a member. Also get access to our private Discord server there. And I got merch if you guys want to buy some t-shirts or hoodies or something like that. Help support the channel. And that's about it. Okay, let's get into Q&A here. Where do I want to go? I want to go Q&A. Let's see here. Okay. All right, we'll get into all the questions. J-Mod, we'll get to your question here. I see you got me tagged in there, so we'll get to your question here in a bit. As always, if you guys could preface the question with a question mark or a Q, I would appreciate it. I'm going to scroll my way up and work my way down. I see Hank is in the house as well. Hank, how you doing, buddy? All right, what do we got here? Talked about that already. Let's see, did we talk about that? Float, talked about that. Okay. All right. Jarrett says, I have both IREN and Cleanspark, starting to become frustrated. Cleanspark thoughts. Patience on that one. Right, they're going to be growing, continue to grow in Bitcoin mining as well. They're getting 60 exahash plus. I'm guessing maybe 65, 70 by the end of the year. We'll see. I think as Bitcoin price goes up, they should be valued up higher on as well. We just finished out, well, we're going to finish out the second quarter here. We'll get some results on that. The stock has been doing much better here recently. It hasn't been done as greatly as IREN or CORZ Scientific, but it's still doing pretty good here. We'll see going forward. Right now, we just got to get past this $11 mark. I think after that, we'll be going up to probably like $18 potentially. Okay. Neutral asks, will Bitcoin go sideways for the 60 more days, yes or no? Historically, when we look at Bitcoin here, and I'll pull this up for you guys so you guys can see this as well. If we look at historical trends on Bitcoin, in the bull runs that we've seen here in like 2013, what was it? 2013, you got July, August being positive months. 2017 was a bull run as well, right? July, August, again in the green. 2021, again, bull run here, 18%, 13%, but we're still in the green here, so I would expect, based on at least historical precedents, I would expect Bitcoin to do the same thing again. But we'll see. So I would expect for the next 60 days that we should do pretty well. A lot of people have said, sell in May and go away. I don't know. But in the bull runs, I think we might be actually going up here. But we'll see. If it doesn't turn out that way, then it's more evidence that we are in a different cycle altogether, possibly. All right. Let's go back here. All right, talked about that. Okay. See, Financial Ernie, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for coming in as well. Let's see, interested to see the daily mining numbers after the difficulty level changes this weekend. Yeah, the miners should start pumping more Bitcoins, right? So that's going to be a good thing. It's always a good thing when difficulty goes down. Let's see, Chris says, all potential rumors, IREN and CORZ, you will see pump and dumps sheeps. Well, hopefully it's not one of those, but we'll see. Okay. Let's see here. What else we got? I'm sorry. I'm trying to find a question here. Let's see. Okay. Can't I see your comments there? Get what you're saying there. Not a big deal. No worries, I guess. See, Hank says HPC play for sure. Miners is a bonus. Yep. Let's see, Andre says I'm not complaining about IREN anymore. Been a good couple of weeks. Yeah, it's been doing really good here. Hank, love you too, buddy. Thanks for coming in here. Let's see. Chris says IREN has no contracts. They do have HPCI contracts, but they're small, right? They're generating, what are they generating right now? Is it $10 or $20 million a year in revenue on that? I can't remember now. Let's see. Neutral says, no HODL IREN pumping is a joke. I'm with you on that, Chris. So you guys are not fans of IREN. But it could surprise you, right? So that's one of the things. All right. You guys are having definitely a conversation there between Neutral and Chris. Let's see. Neutral says everything will pump when BTC and Ethereum pumps. Will Ethereum pump, though? Ethereum hasn't really done that well, recently at least. Okay. Chris says that he's still in all Cleanspark. What else we got here? JMod says, same, Chris. I'm also in all in on Cleanspark. Been in it for 5 years before BTC mining. Okay, so you were in it when they were still a microgrid developer or provider or something like that. Okay. All right, Noel's got a question here. Are we to really believe that Bitfarms will absolutely not conduct a reverse split in the near future? My gut is telling me 2026. The only reason I'm not 100% convinced that they would do a reverse split unless absolutely necessary, meaning that the stock price stays below $1 on the NASDAQ for a very long time before they can't do anything else about it, is because we've asked Ben about the reverse split before, and he said they look at it as they would only use it if they absolutely needed to, and they are not looking to go that route. So we'll see. Things can change, though. Okay. All right. Gary says, I missed IREN low of $1.02, but happy with my best buy of them at $1.15. Unfortunately, I didn't buy enough that day. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just don't know and you buy a little bit and then things run away from you, unfortunately. But that is really low. That's great. Okay. All right. Neville says, the CEO of IREN literally stated they're expected a deal prior to completion in Q4. That paints a very clear expectation. Absolutely no CEO would stick their neck out like that without being sure of it. Yeah, that's a very good point there as well. So there might be something there, right? It's just not maybe signed in stone yet. All right, JMAT says, hey, Sebastian, any guesses when Cleanspark will actually do the promised buyback and how much that may equate to? They said that they could possibly do a buyback, but I don't think there's any plans to do a buyback. The reason I say that, and to be fair, why would they do a buyback, right? They're still in growth mode right now as it is. Yes, they've reached escape velocity, as they call it. I call it getting to scale. But they're still going to be growing to 60 exahash and maybe beyond that. I'm thinking, like I said, 65, 70 exahash by the end of the year here. We'll see. They're going to need cash for that. Why would they do a buyback at this point? They're better off. I think they're better off just holding onto the cash if they're not spending it on improvements and growth, to just hold the Bitcoin that they have. I think there's more upside to that than actually them buying back shares. Noah says, I don't know why people would doubt IREN after a comment like that. You're talking about them getting a deal by Q4. I mean, yeah, we'll have to trust but verify as always, right? Okay. All right. B-Sides, got a question here. If you were an operator, a Bitcoin miner, would you aim to be efficient or have a big hodl? I would aim to be efficient. That's what I would aim for. Because when you're efficient, you can pay off, you're basically paying off your machines a lot faster at that point, right? So that's an investment. You want to recoup your money as fast as possible. Then HODL would be second, right? So if we're able to pay operations, pay everything else, and there's money left over after we're getting other machines and things like that, I would start adding to the HODL position as well. But I think also HODL should be used opportunistically, meaning you HODL it at certain times and you sell it at certain times. When Bitcoin prices going up in value and things like that, and you can use that again to replace older machines, sell it at that point. Don't sell maybe all of it, but sell a portion of it. I think that's probably the best way to go. All right, let's see. NG Taurus, sounds like most of the frustration over IREN run is coming from those holding Cleanspark. I hold both, and I'm relieved this was long overdue. Cleanspark has been lagging for a while, but soon they will run too. I tend to agree also. So I'm with you. I'm in the same boat as you are. I also own Bitfarms. Bitfarms has been a dog here recently this past year, but I still own quite a bit of shares there. I sold out a lot back in November, December. Made profits at that point, but I'm definitely in the red right now. It is. So if it goes down below 50 cents, I may start picking some more up of Bitfarms there. B-side, let's see. Question, if you go for a big hodl, is it because you know you are not efficient compared to the competition? That, I don't know what the mentality is there. Some people, some miners have actually bought Bitcoin. Mara, Riot, Hut 8 as well, I believe. They've bought it and they hodl it. And then there's some miners that hodl everything, dilute on the path, on the way forward to growth. And that's the way to do it. Some will hodl opportunistically and sell opportunistically as well, but they don't buy it. So there's different ways to do it. I don't know the reasoning behind it. I think some might think that Bitcoin is as a scarce asset, which I think it is also, and that it has huge upside potential, and that's kind of what they're betting on there. So I don't know, tough to say. He said, in your opinion, do you think CORZ can be valued at more than $30 per share? I did see Anthony's and Bryce video today on how they were valuing it, and they said around $30. I think that's on the higher end, but that's just me. I think somewhere between $20 and $30, I think would be a fair value there. Somewhere between there. I don't know exactly where it's going to land. $30 seems a bit high on that. And the only reason I say that is because right now, CORZ does not have that full revenue being generated by CoreWeave for their contracts, right? They're still in the process of building out the sites there, but that revenue is going to be increasing as they build out more and more of those megawatts there to be energized. So right now, I think 20 to 30, I think somewhere is definitely doable, or at least fair, I would think. Bitch82's got a question here. Question, will pure play miners ever catch up to AI HPC miners, or should we use IBIT for the BTC play? I mean, you can definitely do IBIT. I think the miners, it all depends on where Bitcoin goes, I think. If Bitcoin does well, goes to, beyond 150,000, 200,000, 250,000, wherever it might go, right? At a certain point, the revenue that's going to be generated by the miners there that are efficient, that have great fleets, they're going to be generating a lot of revenue. And that revenue could be even more than what they're getting, what they would be getting from HPCI as well. But the question will be, how long of an extended period of time will that last, right? That revenue there. Will we have Bitcoin peak at $200,000, $250,000, whatever it is, and go back down to the, go draw back down 70, 80%? I don't think that's going to be the case. But also, how long will we have like a break in Bitcoin, basically, where it goes down 20, 30% or 35%? Is that going to be, again, another 4 or 5 months or 6 months, right, where the miners then again get kicked in the butt again? So I think it's just economics and the revenue side of things, as far as where's the network hash rate, right? Where's their hash rate? What are they generating as far as Bitcoin? I think, what is it? IREN and Cleanspark will be generating roughly, I think, if the numbers stay the same with Bitcoin, Bitcoin stays at 100,000 right now, they're like going to be generating close to, what did I calculate? I think $600 to $800 million a year in revenue, right? Now Bitcoin goes up to 200,000, you're looking at 1.6, 1.8 billion, right? The deal that Core has with CoreWeave is for what? When fully operational, their sites for HPCI, I think theirs is what, $600 or $800 million per year in revenue. So you can see that there is going to be a time when possibly Bitcoin miners generate more revenue from Bitcoin mining than there is from HPCI, depending on the deal that you have, right? IREN has a site that's 2 gigawatts. If they could utilize all that, well, they might be able to generate $1.62 billion a year in revenue from that, possibly, based on the megawatts, more or less, that CORZ is getting from CoreWeave. So, but that's if they can get all that megawatts used up. But that's still not going to take, that's going to take, gosh, at least 2 years to build out at the bare minimum, I would think. So you're still looking at maybe, what is it going to be, 2027 at the earliest, something like that? All right, still a ways out. All right, Lisa's got a question here. From what I heard, CORZ is close to $40 a share. How much do you think IREN or Cypher is worth? Well, Cypher and IREN don't have any deals right now, right? So we can't guess on what they could be worth based on the deals that they have, because they don't have any deals. So it's a little tougher, but obviously the companies are being repriced, which is a good thing because they do have a lot of megawatts that can be utilized for HPCI, and it's just, that's going to obviously drive the stock up there, I think. Okay, let's see. Seb, I think the poll answer may be all of the above. It could be all of the above too. I probably should have put that in there as well. But right now, let's see here. Based on the poll here, which is ARN going up because of incoming HPC AI? 41% of you have voted for that. Repricing of HPC AI potential, 39%. Rotation from other stocks is 19%. So it's pretty close between those two there, as it is. All right. Freddie says, close the weekly at $14. Can you show us how much it's worth in your spreadsheets and the likely you think it could just shoot to $30 soon? Crazy strong weekly close. Yeah, the weekly is definitely very, very strong here. Let's take a look at the spreadsheet here for IREN. I think I put in the latest price at 14. I think I got it. Yep, I got it updated. Okay. The price of the stock price has been updated here. So right now they're valued about 3.14 billion as it is. You know, them getting to 30 billion, it's double. That'd be $6 billion, $6.5 billion roughly, being valued at that. That's definitely above where I think they are right now with Bitcoin mining. But if they get HPCI deal, then things could go up, right? I'm in between 26 and 39, so somewhere in the middle of there, I think would be kind of fairly valued as it is, based on just their possible Bitcoin mining revenue. Right, we're looking at, what did they have here in May? May they had 64. June we're looking like maybe 60. We're not sure, depending how much miners they installed here. They're supposed to get to 50 exahash by the end of June. Hopefully we get some kind of release from them on Monday for that they reached it or got close to it. If not, we'll get a release probably later on in the week when they provide their operational update. We'll see how far they got or how close they got to it. Right, if they're off by a couple of weeks, it's not a big deal. They've been fantastic at meeting their goals here recently, so I'm not too worried about that. But I think it was Cleanspark that we looked at, where Cleanspark is at 50 exahash already. Yeah, I have them at 75 million here right now. Right, so multiply that times 12 months. You're looking at, if Bitcoin just stays where it's at, network hash rate stays where it's at, you're looking at close to $850 million in revenue in just on Bitcoin mining itself, right? Bitcoin goes up to 200,000. You're looking at, well, network hash rate is probably going to go up by that point, but you're still looking at possibly, what is it going to be, $1.7 billion in revenue? Drop that down to maybe 1.5 billion in revenue because of the network hash rate going up and you're mining less and things like that. So that's the potential there for the miners, right? They're not being quite very valued on that yet, at least. Let's go back here. All right. B82 says, who cares about HODL when it's similar to cash? Well, it's still being valued as in dollars, but it is going up, right? You hold on to cash, you lose value in cash. You hold on to Bitcoin, and you're getting more purchasing power there. All right, B-side. At what price you will buy Bitfarms once Riot is done selling? Is 50 cents fair? I think 50 cents is pretty doggone low. I would probably start maybe dollar cost averaging right around there, 50, 55 cents, maybe even 60 cents, buy a little bit, and then it goes down some more, buy some more. But I think 50 cents is ridiculous at that point. I mean, they're valued right now as it is. Let's take a look at them right now. Let's see. Oh, market cap. I don't have the market cap. Why don't I have the market cap? We got stock at 75. Oh, did I delete something? Let's see here. No, I still have all that. 555 million shares. Why isn't that pulling it in? We got that. Market cap. Let's see. Okay, for some reason it's not pulling it in, but we got market cap. Okay, that's something else. Sorry. Got myself confused. $460 million right now. They have in assets as of last report. Let's see here. Total assets as of last report was 224 million. Total assets was 777 million. So kind of undervalued right now as it is in my estimation on this, right? We'll see when they report Q2 numbers where their assets are at after selling some sites to Hive and selling some Bitcoin as well to buy out Stronghold as well. So yeah, to me it's already undervalued as it is, but we shall see, right? Some of my data is missing here because they're not providing their updates. So I've been taking stuff out of this stuff here already. Okay. Oh, and I didn't show you guys the screen. Sorry about that. Forgot to click the button. There's a button. All right, but well, let me show you this nonetheless. So 416 million, right? Assets back here. all the way down here. Total assets was 777 million at the end of Q1. So we'll see where they come in at Q2. All right, go back to Q&A here. All right, let's see. Talked about that one already. All right. BD2 says someone will buy IREN for the infrastructure even if no deal. Possibly. Right. Was it Dan that spoke about that? That there's, a couple different options there, I guess. Right. Selling the sites, selling hosting. There's also joint ventures or whatever. There's a bunch of ways you could go about it on that one. Let's see. BD2 says Bitfarms is worth $6 with no deal, 2 to 3x with deal. $6 would be on the higher end, where I would think they would be worth. Right, they're undervalued right now as it is. So I think getting them at 50 cents would be a steal. We said, what do you think of Griffin? Griffin's getting, well, it's merging with American BTC, right? So they're probably not going to be any longer going forward. We'll see what that is going to be all about on that one. They were definitely one of the small miners there. Yeah, I talked about that a little bit. All right, MJS, based on your analysis of returns, it seems that the best approach is to forego the miners and just invest in BTC. Thoughts? Currently, that has played out probably the best, right? Unless you got into like IREN. IREN is up 1,000%. Bitcoin's up 300 some odd percent, whatever it is, from the bottom of 2022, beginning of January 2023. But in time, and this is normally where the miners would run really well, is the second half of the year here. So we'll see if that's still going to play out or not. And if it doesn't, then yeah, buying Bitcoin would be probably a better option there. Okay, Ed's got a question here. Not sure if this was asked before. Sorry, I just joined. Bitcoin difficulty adjustment will be lowered this Sunday. Is that bullish for the miners next week? Yeah, it's going to help them out. They're going to be mining more Bitcoin there, right? So it should help them out. So instead of mining like 22 BTC per day, some might mine like 23 or 23 and a half, whatever it might be. So they're going to be mining more. All right. B82's got a question here. If Bitcoin goes to 250,000, won't everyone get into mining? ND hash rate increase up to the point where mining is basically break even like it has done this last year. That's going to be tough because megawatts. There's not that many megawatts available. So the ones that have gotten into it in this cycle are probably, you're going to have to put out a heck of a lot of money to get into this game here as it is. So I don't think so. We're seeing kind of the hash rate stabilize a little bit. It's going up slower than it has last year or the year before, which is nice. I think the big guys are squeezing out some of the smaller players in this space. So that's kind of what you're seeing right now. Bisa's got a question again. What is your opinion of Bit Digital? Do you think the spin-off is good? And why did Sam buy 2 million of shares? As far as I can remember, Ben Gagnon did buy Bitfarms shares, and the shares price was still down. Yeah, Ben did buy some shares there, and Sam has bought shares as well. I think he bought 750,000 shares for a total of, 1.5 million or something like that, or 2 million maybe on that one. And what do I think of the spin-off? I talked about it. When did I talk about it? Yesterday? I think we talked about it yesterday. I think the spin-off is good. I'm not a big fan of them going into becoming an Ethereum treasury holdings company, and they're getting rid of their Bitcoin mining side. The Bitcoin mining side I can understand. The spin-off of White Fiber into its own separate company I think is a good idea. That side might get valued properly, where Bit Digital has not been valued properly. I think it's mainly because they've had Ethereum treasury more or less. Hosting with their Bitcoin mining, so they're paying a little bit more for the hosting there, and so they're not as profitable as some of the other miners. They're smaller. They're about 2x a hash or something like that. And then they were doing they started buying out these smaller data center sites, which now they have like 20, 23 customers in there or something like that. So they're generating revenue that way. It's just much more smaller, data centers than what we're seeing here with the likes of CORZ Scientific, with possibly with IREN as well. But overall, I think the move is good. It's the market didn't like it, and maybe it was because of the Ethereum treasury side of things. I don't know, but that's the only thing that I don't really like about it. I wish they would have went all in on Bitcoin. If they're going to do that, going on Bitcoin, that thing has been winning here. Ethereum has been not performing as well as Bitcoin. So that's just my take on it. Nightwake has got a question. What happened to the DeepSeek scare? Well, that definitely woke some people up in the space for sure, and some of them have reevaluated the way that they do things. Where instead of throwing more power into everything, they are trying to see how they can squeeze as much out of what they have. So that has been an impact there. But overall, we're seeing, obviously, Google came out with Gemini 2.5 Pro. I use it. I've been using it for now about 3 weeks or so. It is fantastic. With all the things you can do, you can code with it. You can do a little 8-second clips, video clips. You can do obviously everything else. Deep search. It's gonna revolutionize the way we do things going forward here, and I think that part of it is being underestimated. I think by a lot of people. So I'm bullish on that side of things. It's just how much data centers do we really need? Time will tell. All right, talked about that one already. All right, Seb, CORZ will be earning over $1 billion a year soon. $2.50 share with reasonable 20x multiple. That is $50. From what I saw, isn't that going to be closer to like $600-700 million a year, not a full billion? I could be wrong on that. You might be right on the $1 billion. But you're saying $250 per share. If you have, that would be what, 400 million shares? But the number of shares should be increasing, right, as we get the warrants. So it's a possibility there. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I just don't know. All right. What is your top 3 position on Bitcoin miners? Well, I own 4 miners. Cleanspark, I'm up 90% on that one. IREN here recently, I'm actually up close to 80% as of today. Bitfarms is down like 40-50% from where I got it. Mara is just up 1 or 2% from when I bought it. And the 2 biggest positions that I do have are Cleanspark and IREN right now. Those things make up a majority of the gains that I have there, and majority of the pot there. Okay. B2, what multiple should they get? Most AI players are way higher multiple. 15 to 25 multiple, I think, is fair for AI play. It could go even higher than that, but I think somewhere around there would be a good number to start at. B2 says, mine are CORZ, IREN, and Mara. So CORZ, you've done very well here at IREN as well. Congratulations. Definitely got the right ones here on that one. So congratulations to you. You're having a happy Friday here. What do you think about South America when they effed up Bitfarms? They raised their electricity prices. Big F you to investors. That might be the reason why they sold, was it Paraguay facility to Hive? That might have been why. I don't know. But they're definitely repositioning themselves to be in the United States here. Yeah, Hive got the infrastructure from South America. Okay. Why would you trust South American? Hive is no better than Bitfarms. That, I don't know. I don't know the details of that completely. I know that the prior CEO that was let go last year, and the board itself was going in that direction, right? They were looking for these Latin American countries that have favorable electrical prices, but stability in the governments may not be that great. So you do take a little bit of a gamble there. You get something for something, right? So maybe that's why. Let's see. Marcus Bruno, good day to you and the 100 here. Good day to you as well. Hope you're having a great Friday and you're going to enjoy your weekend. Angie's got a question here, Seb. Are you rotating any of your IREN profits into other miners with more upside potential like Hive or Cleanspark? Thanks. No, I am not. I'm going to hold on to Cleanspark and Hive, IREN that I have there till probably later on this year. See where they run. If we have a nice bull run here happening in Bitcoin, I'm going to hold on to those. My dad's actually thinking about rotating some of the profits that he has in CORZ going into IREN as well. He's got Cleanspark that he owns right now that he's up nicely as well. He bought it back in around the $4 to $6 range as well. So he's doing well on that one. And then he's thinking about rotating from some of the profits from CORZ into IREN. He's got it on multiple exchanges for CORZ. So one will be sold off and rotated, and the other one will just stay until we actually possibly finalize the sale there, if it happens. All right. Daniel's got a question here. Has the underperformance of the miners versus BTC this year caused you to reevaluate whether the cycle is different for mining stocks? Not yet. And the reason I say that is because we had the halving event last year, right, which always has an impact on the miners. And we saw that impact them last year and into this year as well. The next 6 months is going to be the part that's going to make me reevaluate things if they don't work out the way I think they're going to work out. So in the next 6 months, if the miners don't perform, quite nicely, I'm guessing they're not going to probably go up to 70x, 80x from the bottom like they did in 2021. Mara did that. Riot was up 40x, right? I'm not looking for that. I'm looking more for maybe a 5x potentially from where I got into it at least on certain things, maybe a little bit higher than that. And if they do, and they actually perform better than Bitcoin from like at the bottom of where Bitcoin bottomed out and the miners bottomed out back in December of 2022, then I think it would still would have been a good play, right? Now, if the miners don't perform that well and Bitcoin outperforms them, then yeah, definitely reevaluate. It might be one of those things where it doesn't make sense to dollar cost average into them towards the bottom, buy as much as you can and hold on for dear life until we top out. It might have been a better play to play the peaks and valleys of them, potentially, because we've had quite a few of those already here. Okay. Let's see. All right. B2's got a question. Seb, so if power is the limiting factor for mining and AI, or for mining, I guess, in AI, which application is more valuable? I think the price action this week tells us that the market thinks, where's the rest of your question or rest of your part? You're thinking that the HPCI is more valuable there. That might be possibly where the valuation comes in at, right? So investors, smart money, whatever you want to call it, might value the megawatts higher for HPCI than they do for Bitcoin mining, at least currently. That might change if the economics change, but it might be for a short period of time as well, when Bitcoin mining is more profitable than HPCI. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. Daniel said, sold IREN today at great profits. Curious what plays you think are best for a rebuy if we get a dip. Well, let's take a look at IREN here really quick, because I was thinking about that also earlier. It's like, is IREN getting too hot right now? Could it possibly dip here a little bit for a little bit of correction? And we're looking at the weekly chart here. We can see that the RSI here is at roughly 66, something like that. So I think we still have a ways to run up before things pull back a little bit here. Last time we got much higher on the RSI at 78, and at that point we were at only $14. So we're not too far away from it as it is, right? We were at $14 and almost $15, right? So that was back here. We got to that. So I think we can run a little bit more, maybe get right up to $17, $18, something like that, maybe even $20 before we have a correction here. Looking at the daily chart, we're definitely getting a little hot here, but I mean, you can see here that we've been, our side's been above 70 here, but it's been also coming down here a little bit for a couple of days, and we go up, coming back down, and getting kind of refreshed and going back up much higher. So next week, we might have a little bit of a correction here in price, and then go back up on that one. 4-hour chart, same thing here. You're seeing it getting a little too hot, comes back down, right? Getting a little too hot, comes back down, and it's doing this thing. So as long as it continues to do that, we definitely could go up a little bit higher here. Closer to the 20 mark, I think. We might get there even faster than we think. Who knows? Okay, let's see. Garrett, all right. Question. So you think Bitfarms hiring Ben, who is the Bitcoin expert, and now have them pivot completely to HPC and stop reporting Bitcoin is strange? I don't know if it's strange. I still believe that Ben is a smart guy. And it's only been a year since he's been at the helm there. So I'm giving him a little bit more patience and a little bit more time to turn the ship around. But they have hired on people that have the HPC AI experience that they were missing, right? So that's good there. They've restructured the company as well. Put people in other places. They've split it up for operations and basically build out and things like that have experience with HPCI as well. So I think that's a good move there. Now, time will tell if it all works out for them. NG has a question here. Why is Bitfarms going down so much still? Riot's selling pressure. Riot's still selling the stock there. So that's putting the pressure on it, unfortunately. And, that's going to be there for a while. I don't know exactly when they're going to be done selling the shares, but it's going to be a couple weeks, maybe even a couple months still. Hopefully it'll be faster than later. Angie, is it just me or is B-Side secretly trying to write a book on SEB Bitcoin miners? Maybe, I don't know. but B-Side, nope. Let's see, I am bullish on Griffin there. Okay. What do you think about Trump family being bullish on Bitcoin? Well, it's definitely a good thing for us, right? We finally have an administration that is pro-Bitcoin, pro-crypto. The prior administration was not a friend of ours, but even still, being not a friend, Bitcoin has gone up nonetheless here. So, if you look at historically, Bitcoin, it doesn't matter if it's a Republican or a Democrat in the office, Bitcoin just goes up, right? Why? Bitcoin is scarce. 21 million, that's all you're going to ever get. It's secure. It's the best. So, what does the best do? The best likes to run up. Let's see here. Zed Nezel. Sorry, I'm not being able to pronounce. I don't even know if that's how you pronounce it. Sorry. Hey, Sebastian, what's your thoughts on Bitfarms going forward? I haven't really kept up with it for the last 4 to 5 months. Do they have the capital to pivot to HPCR, or is it dead bag not worth holding? They do have the capital. They have a $350 million loan. They got $50 million of it already to work on the project for HPC AI. They'll get the rest as they progress forward with that progress. So they do have the capital there. They sold the site to Hive in Paraguay. They got some money from that, so they're okay there. I believe they still have some Bitcoin HODL as well, so they should have some cash. So I think they're okay. I think. We'll know more once they report Q2 results. All right, let's see. IREN is one of those stocks that might weather any correction. I don't know. It seems like a multi-year hold, non-financial advice. It didn't fare that well when we corrected here recently. When Bitcoin came down from January to April, what did IREN do? IREN followed suit as well, and it got hit also here. So if we look at it here, it did not escape it. So let me see here. Let me go screen on that one and take a look at this. So this was back in, let's see here, February. When did we start? Where's January? January 13th, more or less right around here. So it was back here. So from January all the way down to here was down 50%. Bitcoin was down 30%. So it did not escape it like anybody else here. Will it escape it going forward if it gets an HPCI deal? I don't know, right? CORZ didn't escape it. They were down too also during that same time period when Bitcoin was coming down. They were coming down as well. They got even hit on that DeepSeek FUD thing. So that impacted them. Plus Bitcoin going down, that impacted them. These guys are not immune from it, at least not yet. Maybe if they were generating all the revenue that they should have, maybe that would have insulated them a little bit more. I don't know. We will find out in the next year or two, basically, on how things are going to play out. Okay, let's see here. Okay, B-side. What do you think about Trump, bro, Donald Trump Jr., and Eric being bullish on Bitcoin? I think it's a good thing. I'm all for it. I think it's good. All right. Weren't the miners previously traded and priced like meme stocks and now seem to be priced more based on actual financial results? I think you have, I think the main difference is last time you didn't have as much institutions involvement like we do now. Last time was more retail driven. So there's that difference that we're seeing at least right now where institutions are, controlling it more so than retail is. So I think that's why. But yeah, maybe they were also seen as meme stocks, right? Proxies for Bitcoin. There weren't that many ways to get on Bitcoin other than through like Coinbase and Kraken and Binance and Memory FTX at one point. So people looked to the Bitcoin miners. Now you have also the Bitcoin ETFs. You got MicroStrategy, strategy holding companies. So you got all different avenues to get onto Bitcoin here if you wanted to. Thoughts on Cypher? Ethan's got a question on that one. Cypher, I think, is going to be doing much better here going forward. I've always said this for the past year that a lot of the growth is going to be happening here in the second half of this year, which is true. And then if they get an HPCI deal, they could be you could look at them similarly to like IREN as well on that one. B says, if you had to rebalance your portfolio, what would be your top 3? I would still hold on to Cleanspark, IREN, Bitfarms. I may would have maybe changed that out for maybe Cypher, maybe gone that way, or actually held on to CORZ, right? CORZ last year I had it and I sold it at a 100% profit, and moved that into actually IREN at that time. I believe moved the profits into IREN, yeah, IREN, and sold some profits in Cleanspark as well and moved that over into IREN as well. So I've done some rotation a little bit last year. Let's see here. Gapfiller's got a question here. Hey Seb, is Cleanspark still curtailing? Where to see their daily mine BTC? I can't find it. I have the address here someplace. Let me see if I can pull it up for them. Let's see if I can find it. Is it YouTube? Where is it? Cleanspark. Let's see if this works. Okay. Let's see. That one's. When's this one last reported? 6/27. Okay. Yep. So I think this is it. All right. Let's take a look at it here. So if you go to, if you can see that, maybe pause the video here when you have time. But if you go to this address here, you should be able to see this. And then, so let me see here. For 6/27, they mined 21.69. So it looks like they're coming back up a little bit here. They were at 19.8 here just a day ago, probably from the heat. They're back up a little bit here. So yeah, I think they're turning things around again. Or turning things on again, at least. All right, going back here. Ed's got a question here. Are Cleanspark and IREN decoupling now? I mean, IREN is at 14 and Cleanspark stuck at 11. They used to run similarly. Not always. There were times when Cleanspark would outrun IREN, and then Cleanspark would come back down and IREN would go back up. So not always. And I think what's driving right now, IREN, is the HPCI potential, which is nice. I own the stock, so I'm happy about it. Okay. Let's see, question. I have followed you for maybe 1 year. I know you are deep on Bitfarms. Yeah, but I've also trimmed my position back in November, December, when they started talking about not reaching their targets and postponing when they're going to reach their targets, 21 exahash. I sold 2/3 of the shares that I had then. So I still own 1/3 of what I had prior. Question, buy once at 50 cents if no reverse split. Yeah, I'm still looking. Yeah, I told you I'd probably end up buying at 50 cents. I think it's going to be just ridiculously undervalued at that point. LG says, I grouped the 3-pack, Cleanspark, Riot, and IREN. When they were in the 9s, IREN pulled away and never looked back. LOL. There you go. Okay. Okay. Thanks, Seb. Great info. It's Z New Zealand, by the way. Okay. Z New Zealand. All right, cool. I'll try to remember that. I'm terrible with names, so if I don't remember that, forgive me. Let's see, Manuel. Will Riot hit $50 or $40 if BTC hits 150,000? Oh, I don't know. That might be tough. If they get an HPCI deal, yes. If you're counting on Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin would need to be higher for them to get to $40 at that point. God's will OD here. Well done for your works, big bro Seb. Please, can you give me the permission to make a plea on the live stream? Go ahead and make your plea, buddy. In the comments. Let's see. Riot still has 75 million shares of Bitfarms. I believe there is an agreement on the number of shares Riot allowed to sell per day. I think it was 1 million shares per day. So that is another 2 months of pain. Okay, so like I've been saying, a couple weeks, maybe a couple months there. NG, will Bitfarms still regain their greater than $6 buck range after this bad weather? It's not going to be easy. The only thing that could possibly get them above that would be the HPCI deal that they get, right? $6 would be $3 billion market cap roughly. Right, so it's not out of the question there, I think, but it might be tough for them to do that. All right. Where do you see Cleanspark and IREN with BTC at 130,000? A little bit up from here where they are, right? That's what, 30, not even 30%. That's the 20-some% increase. So they should be up maybe 30, 40% from where they are right now. All right, question: are you more bullish on Cypher girls or Cleanspark girls or IREN girls? I would say Cleanspark and IREN girls, at least right now. All right, Andre, are you not expecting IREN to put out news of reaching 50x hash on the 30th deadline they gave themselves? I am expecting it, mainly because they've done so well at reaching their targets here recently. So I would be a little bit disappointed if they didn't reach it, but it's not a big deal, right? They've done so well this past year as it is. Having them off by a couple weeks, not too worried about it, right? They'll get to 50x hash eventually. So, but it would be great if they reported on Monday that they reached a 50x hash. Okay. IREN is going up mostly because it's a great company, but because of its low float. Yeah, it's got, 240 million shares out right now that we last know of, at least. We'll see where they come in at the end of Q2 here. For them, it's going to be their end Q4. So it might take a little while to get their financial results because those have to be audited. So we're probably looking at mid-August, mid to late August possibly. Let's see. Andre says maybe a hyperscaler is investing in IREN before signing a big contract with them. Wouldn't that be a conflict of interest there? Okay. Starmelon says, B-side, you asked some interesting questions. Yes, he does. All right. Guys and gals, I think we're going to call it a day. What else do we have here? All right. Final question from B-side here. What price will Bitcoin be in Q3? In Q3, I would think we would be somewhere between where we are right now and 150,000. That's kind of where I'd like to see us, somewhere between there. I don't know exactly where it's going to be. I'm thinking maybe 135, 140, somewhere around there, but definitely would like to see us at least get close to 150,000 by the end of Q3 here. So we'll see. All right. As always, I bid you all a great weekend. Hopefully you guys have a great time. Hopefully you have great weather where you are. And you guys can go out and touch some grass and get away from this madness that we are all in here. So I wish you guys great days ahead. And sorry about any vacation pics. I do have vacation pics, but my kids are in a lot of those, so I'm not going to share them. I want to keep my kids' privacy still private. But yeah, have a great weekend, everyone. Love you all for coming in as always. I hope you guys will return on Sunday. We'll do another Sunday show probably just to cover the miners how they did this past week. And anything else that I want to discuss with you guys at that point. All right. So that is it. Adios. See you tomorrow. See you Sunday. Bye.